Welcome back to Property Playbook. We're your hosts, Elena Saradidis.
And Erica Reddy-Choquette.
And today we're talking all things summer trends, and I can't wait to dive into this with you.
Yes, this one's a juicy one. I was actually chatting last week with Lindsay DeLuce on CTV all about what are we looking at for the summer? What are the summer trends? What can we expect? What is shifting? What is changing? So I think this is super topical. And I don't know about you, but my buyers and my sellers are constantly going, Erica, what are we in for? So let's dive into it.
There's definitely a little bit of a panic in the market. I know we were talking a little bit before we started filming on offer nights and if they are a hit or a miss right now.
Yeah.
And you just told me a story and we're going to redo it for our viewers. What happened?
Yeah, so I mean, listen, goodness, up until pretty much now, I was going offer night with every single listing. I just felt that was the strategy and that was the way to go. And it was frankly, incredibly successful. And it's just this past week that we're starting to feel, or at least I'm starting to really feel and see a shift in the success of offer nights. Anecdotally, I've had a couple of listings now that have had offer nights that have failed. And, we had great showing activity, great people, like just huge traffic, tons of people through the open house, like nothing wrong with the listing, an amazing listing, an incredibly desirable neighborhood. Like everything was box checked. And come the offer night, it was crickets. No one. We've now repositioned. We're back to market. We're obviously, going to let time be on our side. But that tells me we're really seeing what I think is a traditional summer market come back into the marketplace.
Okay, but my question is this. With the offer night, in terms of pricing strategy, how far below did you go? What was the feedback agents were giving you? Were they saying my clients just don't want to compete? Were they saying that it's a little too rich? Where were they at?
Yeah, I mean, the crazy thing was, really, there was no sign that we weren't going to have offers on the offer night. Like the listing trended well, the showings went well, the agent feedback was super positive, the number of home inspections requested were high, the number of really, kind of pinpointed questions that had me go, okay, they're really serious, was across the board. And then come the offer night, it was crickets. And I mean, this was then me calling, following up, texting, emailing, like, hey, listen, if your clients were scared to compete, don't worry, it's not going to be as competitive, like you name it. And I mean, we were strategically priced to be what I would say was the right spread between where we were hoping to land and where we were listed. We were right within kind of what all the other houses, had been doing. And I mean, listen, I sold a very comparable house just a few months ago for 175 listed at 1495. We were pretty much exploiting the exact same strategy.
That worked flawlessly and then did not work this time around. So I find that very interesting because we didn't touch on that the offer night that you were hosting was for a house. And
Yes.
typically throughout the whole entire market, with the interest rates going up, houses were still selling, especially under that 2 million mark.
Yes.
So the fact that it was a house
Under 2 million, what it should sell for, had a bunch of showings, and then offer night was cricket is telling us something.
Yes.
It's telling us the summer market, the true summer market where people are going on vacation and not as transactional, is currently happening.
Absolutely. And I think what we've forgotten, to be honest with you, on the summer market is we haven't had the summer market for the better part of, I want to say, 5 years. I mean, I was talking with an agent about it today, and the pattern of the summer kicking in, it's like a full-on hard stop, but we haven't experienced it. So all of a sudden I'm sitting here going, I think we're in the full-on hard stop of a summer market where we need a lot more time on our, side. We've got to take into account agents away, buyers away. The interest rate change, I think everybody thought was just going to have, this like huge demand, and we're not seeing that. I think we need to see a few more interest rate, changes before we actually start to see the demand come into the, the buyers in the landscape. So summer's officially here, I think, and true summer's officially here in the market.
Yeah, and the thing too, the media hasn't started advertising that we've hit the bottom. They're still kind of scaring people into we haven't hit the bottom yet.
Yeah.
So I think that's also playing a role in buyers not wanting to enter in fear that the bottom hasn't come yet.
Yeah.
I was talking to a mortgage broker of mine earlier today, and the conversation we were having is private lenders are not financing as much as they were previously. They're financing a lot less than the value of the property. And it's because they're also in fear that if something does happen, is my money secure?
Right.
So I am thinking a lot more finance conditions are going to fall through. We actually had one recently. It was a finance condition. The mortgage broker said we had nothing to worry about. Everything is good. We were on the list side. And then at the 11th hour, it's not good. So we are noticing a big change in that avenue. Finance conditions are coming back into play, and sometimes they're not firming up. And we didn't have that problem a few months ago.
I mean, what were conditions a few months ago, right? I mean, listen, I had a deal. We started negotiating it yesterday. We went through with it today. And literally, I just called the agent to be like, hey, update, where are we at? How are things going? And he was like, the sign back was great, but we're just actually not going to do anything with it. We're going to look at a few more properties on Friday and a couple more properties on Saturday, and we'll probably circle back and, I don't know, maybe re-engage. I was like, I beg your pardon, what?
Buyers have the control. And I think that's what a lot of buyers need to realize right now. If you're thinking about getting into the market, you have the power at this moment. You have a lot more negotiation power. You have the ability to take your time and look at options. And, now they know what your sign back number is. They're going to go around, see if they can get a house for less. And if they can't, they'll come back. And they're probably going to come back with an even lower number.
Yeah. And it's just, again, it's shifting times. And so I think the big thing is, and I mean, this is the other question I've been fielding a lot, and I'll ask it to you because I actually don't know what the right answer is so many people are going, okay, well, it's not working right now. Should we pause and kind of consider things in the fall?
Well, what I would say is this. The interest rate announcement made sellers come to market. It didn't necessarily make buyers come to market. If you have a good product, you just have to digest the fact that you're going to be sitting longer than usual. And if you can digest that, that's great. Like we had a listing that sold a few days ago, and we sold after 20 days on market. Mm-hmm. That property would have sold in I want to say normal market, it's not a normal market. This is a normal market.
Yeah.
A few months ago in 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
So it is longer on the market. It's taking more time. And if you are a seller, don't panic.
Yeah, I mean, readjusting
the board.
You're right. The readjusting of expectations, I think, is critical because 7 days on market is no longer the norm. But here's what I think is so challenging. It happened so quickly. The switch of 7 days on market to 30 days on market practically happened from last week to this week. And so that's a hard pill to swallow when all of a sudden you're like, sorry, that's not the market anymore. And it's not. And so to your point, looking at, okay, now we are 15, maybe 30 plus days on market. We need runway, we need time, we need patience. We need the right buyer. The right buyer's out there, but they're not coming and they're not lining up.
So I had a listing the other day, and hopefully this goes live after we go firm, because now we're talking about hypothetical transactions. I had a total. I shouldn't even talk about this.
We don't
it
have
actually
to jinx
happens.
it. We can jump into final offer.
What I was gonna say is I had a certain number of showings that came through over the course. I would have normally had double the amount of showings to get an offer. The person that showed it the most was actually the buyer. Like the potential buyer came in 3 times. Yep. They had the ability to come in 3 times in the span of, I want to say 15 days. They went and saw what else they liked. They came back. They asked me a bunch of things, and if things could be repaired, I was fixing it for them. They'd come back. It took them 3 times to bring me something on paper. It is taking a lot longer. And I think sellers need to realize too, they're not in the driver's seat right now. It's unfortunate, but we're not. So take it day by day, deep breaths. The property will sell. It's just going to take a lot more time. However, be very, very mindful of how many showings you are getting versus how many days on market. Because if you're getting 0 showings and the property looks fantastic, an adjustment needs to be made. Yeah. And it's mostly price.
I mean, my rule of thumb as we hit this market is 30 days or 30 showings. And I'm pretty sure I've shared this little tidbit earlier. But I really do believe 30 days or 30 showings, whatever comes first is a sign that you need to reposition.
I agree. Okay, what are we seeing in condos? Because we haven't jumped into that.
Oh dear. On the listing front, it's grim. It's really grim. It's slow. It's really, really slow. I mean, again, we've got a tremendous amount of inventory in the condo market. Let's not, forget we're dealing with almost 80% of the Toronto Real Estate Board listings in the condo sector. That is a ton of inventory. And as we've just talked about, buyers are in the driver's seat. So, I mean, if you're a buyer and you've got a little tiny radius and you've got a budget and you're going, I want to go and see some condos, and you have 100 options to look at, like, of course you're not starting your car all that quickly. And you've got a lot that you got to sift through before you find what you're interested in.
What I find shocking, and I shouldn't be this shocked by it, but you can buy a condo in downtown Toronto for under $500,000 right now. That wasn't something that we could even discuss previously.
No.
I remember telling people we're driving until we qualify, like we're going to go find a place. And there was a period of time where shoe boxes, studio apartments in the worst buildings in the city were selling for $550,000.
Yeah.
So I do think there's opportunity in this market. And if you're a buyer, take your time, find an amazing opportunity and jump on it.
Yep.
And there are people right now that are bleeding, and that sounds bad. Like, you know, we're on the seller side,
Yeah.
we're on the buyer side
Yeah.
too, but we've had conversations about this in the past. Some sellers need to sell. It's not even an option. We need to sell. And if they need to sell and they need to sell by a certain date, you have an opportunity there.
Yeah.
So look for opportunities in the market, because I do think in a year from now and 2 years from now and 5 years from now, whoever bought right now is going to be like, oh, everyone should have known.
Yeah.
Remember that time where we got the best deal in the world? This is what they're going to talk about.
Well, I mean, listen, I feel like you could never, ever, I don't want to say never, ever, but under $1,000 a foot was very, very hard to find in the condo market unless it was like a complete and utter disaster of a building or unit. And now under $1,000 is achievable again. And so again, this all has to flush itself out. I think it's just a matter of time. But to your point, there's great opportunity to be had if you're a buyer, and if you're a seller, strap on. It is a long haul, or you have to be so aggressively priced. One of the two.
Let's touch on pre-con.
Yes. Pre-con. Oh my. I mean, we've just talked grim. Do we want to talk grimmer? Like, this is supposed to be upbeat.
I know, but you know what?
It's
Even
honest.
though it isn't, like, we're talking about what's actually happening in the market
100%.
right now. In my opinion, the pre-construction market is dead right now. And I'm sure a bunch of builders that I work with are going to be like, Elena, stop talking about that.
Yes.
But that's the reality. It's a lot harder to sell pre-construction because they're priced not as aggressively as resale right now.
For sure. I mean,
Resale-
build costs are what they are. You can't build a condo for less right now. So it's not like the builder can all of a sudden say, oh, great, we can now slash out and sell this for $950 a square foot. I mean, you can't build the building at that price point.
But they are offering a lot of incentives. And this is a sales strategy, just so like everyone knows. The moment builders start offering the earth, the moon, and the star with purchases of the condo, like someone was offering a car with the purchase of a pre-construction. Last week I saw an email that came through and they were like, they'll get a car if you buy this. And I said, wow, that's a great deal. But they're trying to incentivize people to actually buy them at the higher price and just wait out the market because they need sales to start construction. And they
100%.
don't have the sales right now.
And again, builders aren't going to like me for this comment, but in my opinion, if you're deciding between buying something pre-con and you're deciding about buying in the resale market, I personally would park my money in the resale market because you're already ahead of the curve. You're buying at a way lesser, price per foot. And you can let time work on your favor, like on your side. I recognize the new shiny objects goodness, the new car, maybe a vacation, whatever else the builder wants to package in. But why wouldn't you turn around and go to the resale market and buy something in the resale market today for way less and allow that to appreciate than pay way more for something you're not even going to get keys to in, 3-5 years?
Well, I think when it comes to the pre-construction market, and you know that I have a portion of my business that buys pre-construction.
Absolutely.
It has slowed down. And like, there's a reason behind it because I don't believe in selling a product that I wouldn't put my own money in. But it comes with opportunity. If I find a good opportunity in a pre-construction building in a location that the math makes sense, then we'll still do it.
For sure.
And I have some clients that will never touch a resale condo. They don't believe in it. They'll just buy pre-construction and they'll pay a little bit more, but they want a new product.
Yep. And listen, I'm not saying that pre-con is not an investment worth investing in, but I just think if you look at the spread right now in the marketplace, the resale market definitely screams the better deal over the pre-con
sure.
market. No questions asked.
For sure.
Yeah.
But we have to appease to all clientele.
And listen,
whatever the
some
clients
people like
want.
new shiny objects. I get it.
But I agree. Why would I pay $1,500 a square foot or $1,400 a square foot when I could pay under $1,000 a square foot? It makes sense.
Yeah.
So if you have the mortgage capability and you have the down payment, get in.
Yeah.
That's the conclusion. It's always the conclusion with me.
Exactly. Now, you have tested out Final Offer. So, I can't remember now how long ago we did that Final Offer episode. So if you're brushing up or wanting to understand Final Offer, jump back to one of our previous episodes and then maybe segue back to this. But let's do first a high-level summary of what Final Offer is and then run me through your experience with it because I'd love to hear. I think we're going to start to see more buyer demand pushing Final Offer into the marketplace, to be honest with you. So I'm really curious to hear how your experience unfolded.
Okay, so to give you a quick summary on what Final Offer is a property offer management tool, and it's used to help relay transparency between all parties in the transaction. Now, I was
Very good summary.
Oh, no problem. I was super lucky in this transaction, which we usually don't get this lucky, but the seller was an agent on my team. I was taking care of the sale for her. Now, the other agent was also a member of my team, but she was representing the buyer.
Okay.
Okay. So we all had separate designation. She didn't, like, I don't want to say Chinese wall, but in the legal term, Chinese wall.
Yep.
So we started the offer process. We did not open up the offers, but we used it as a management tool. So they submitted the offer to us. We could review it. We can choose to expose the offer, to leave the offer as is, or to counter the offer. We chose to counter the offer. So it took us 5 minutes. I was on my phone. I clicked, and it went to them as a counter. This was the easiest offer night I ever did.
So they didn't even sign it?
No.
The counter?
No. The client says they don't have to sign it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of scary from that perspective because I can tell you this, like I was freaking out. I'm going to sign the wrong thing. So the team at Final Offer were great though, and it was after hours and they were on the phone with me the whole entire time because I'm like, if I end up selling this for way under what I need to because I clicked a button, I'm going to cry. And I kept telling them this.
You're going to cry.
The
seller's going to fire you.
Because, hey, the seller's my agent. Okay, so she signed a paperwork at the beginning of the agreement basically stating that she is giving me the authority to negotiate and accept on her behalf.
Got it.
I know. Scary. We're just going to say scary. So I negotiated on her behalf. I would talk to her on the phone. I would click the buttons that needed to be clicked. I'd reconfirm everything, and then I would send it over. The other side, then both of them would get an email. So both the buyer and the buyer's agent got an email saying, your offer has been countered. This is the deal. At that point, anyone that saw the property could also see what was happening with the offers in real time. Not the numbers because I left it closed, but they could see offer 1 registered, offer 2 registered, offer 1 was countered, offer 1 was countered again. Like they could
Right.
see
So
this
it's like
all
a chess
as
game. They're watching. Okay, it came in, now with this, now with that.
they could see it all happen.
And so as this is happening, are you getting phone calls from other agents going, okay, we see the counter, we see this, what's happening, update me?
I got maybe 2 phone calls during it that were like, hey, like you're using this new platform, like what is it? And I said, it's new for me too. We're testing it out. I'll let you know how it goes at the end of the night. Do you want to bring me an offer? And they're like, we're going to watch.
Yeah.
So there was an aspect of hesitation to bring in an offer. However, all the agents that submitted, because we did have 2 offers, both said that this was a very easy, user-friendly option.
Interesting.
Which I thought was going to be awful, and I'm not going to get any offers because I chose to try this new tool.
Right.
But again, the team was really good, Final Offer team, and they were on the phone and they helped everyone upload their documents and helped everyone do everything. The moment we agreed on a number and we accepted it, we still left it private so no one could see what the number was. And then it would say, how long do you want to leave it private for? So if it's conditional offer, you can put up until this date.
Right.
So I extended it far past when it would have closed, when it would have whatever, just in case, because I was scared. Then it says you have an hour to deliver the signed paperwork to the seller. So then the buyer's agent clicks through a button. They write up all the paperwork. All the terms are already in it, and they forward it over to us. Then my client accepts the paperwork. But on the dashboard, it already said this is a legally binding contract. So even without the paperwork that we need for TREB or for MLS, like even without that paperwork, it was still a legally binding contract.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting because the other night I was in offers for buyers and we were going back and forth. And all I could think was, all I wish was this was an open process because the communication with the other agents was really tricky. My buyers were really in the dark. It was a circumstance where I had no color or context on how things were going to unfold and felt so blind trying to advise the buyers as to where we were and what was happening. And after literally painstaking negotiations and hours later, it was 1:30 in the morning and we got a verbal that we were going to be accepted, but could we extend until 10 o'clock the next morning, to which my guys are going, are we ever actually getting this house? And why do we still have no idea what's happening and what's been panning out and how it's all unfolded? So
the great thing about this is it provided transparency. If you wanted to send a note to the buyer as well, like this is why we believe the property is the way it is, because communication gets lost.
Absolutely.
So we had the ability also to say, listen, we appreciate your offer. This is what we need to make the deal happen, and send it back to them. And after speaking with the buyer's agent, they actually said, my client came up further than what they said was the bottom line for them, because they felt like they were being, treated humanly.
Right.
Like they knew exactly what was happening. The back and forth was so transparent. They could see that there was another offer. They could see it. It wasn't just being heard by the agent that there's something going on.
Right.
They could see it all pan out.
Interesting.
So I think it was a fantastic tool. I have not dabbled with opening up the offers on it yet. Who knows? Maybe that's next. But at this moment in time, as a software that manages deals, your deal that went through up until 1:30 a.m., my counters back and forth, they were done. I would say we were done in 2 hours.
Wow.
Everything. The deal was done.
That's a game changer on time and turnaround.
Well, we don't want to be sitting all night waiting for offers. The sellers don't, the buyers don't.
No, yeah.
But if you had a platform that literally said, here are all your offers and here are all the things that you check off, because you know what happens on an offer night. And if you don't know what happens on an offer night, this is what happens, at least for me. I print out every single offer.
Yep.
Then I grab a sticky note. And on every single sticky note, I write the price, the agent, the closing date, and any conditions that they have. And then we keep passing it over. Someone else will review it afterwards on the team. Then someone will input the data onto a spreadsheet. And then from the spreadsheet, we send the spreadsheet to the client with all the attachment documents. And then we start.
Yeah, you're like, here's the high level summary. Here's all the paperwork attached. Now let's have a phone conversation.
But that can take hours to go through every offer.
And so now this is just automated.
So this goes, you submit your offer and it will say, this is that person's price. This is this person's price. This is this person's price. This is their closing. You can see it all.
Yeah.
And that way you can decide, who do I want to counter? Who do I want to sign back? Let me tell everyone to go back and improve their offers. It's just so easy.
Yeah.
Like the 5 minutes it took me. I was at a concert, guys. I was at a concert doing the sign back.
Yeah. I mean, technology has changed real estate. I remember literally going to like a friend's cottage and being like, do you have a phone line so I can bring my fax machine? Okay, my fax machine. Like, I am not that old. I mean, I'm old, I guess, but I'm not that old. And now we're at a time and place where like, forget the fax machine. It's 3 clicks and like the whole thing's sold. I mean, it happens so quickly. So technology is definitely going to, I think, continue to outpace the industry in great ways. And so I think we'll be talking more and more about kind of opening these offers up, the technology behind them and what that looks like. Even in a slowing market, I think there's huge value to it. Because again, same thing, people might look at it, people might not want to offer, but boom, all of a sudden everybody gets notified on a very open, transparent platform and they go, okay, I actually want to play ball. So,
and the nice thing too about this platform is on the actual website for the listing, you can see how many people viewed it. So if you're a buyer and you're seeing 3 views, you're like, not too worried, it's my house. But if you're seeing 10,000 views, and that can happen on the same house that you're looking to offer on, doesn't that put a little bit of urgency on you? Like, I might have to move a little faster. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a great tool. I'm going to use it on more listings. We're still dabbling. I'll let you know once I've opened it up on the platform and we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
But in the interim, as a software that manages offers and it gives us all a transparency between us, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think shop on for the summer is, I think, the messaging of this for sure. And just be prepared that you're going to need time on your side. You're going to need patience on your side if you're the seller. And if you're the buyer, you're in the driver's seat and there's some spectacular opportunities to be had.
100%. Once again, it's Elena Saradidis
and Erica Reddy-Choquette.
Thank you so much for following Property Playbook. If you like content like this, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe.